So someone posed the question, are the various Halloween timelines confusing in the sense that does having a series with four different continuities make it off-putting to new people or confusing for new people? And I should, I guess, give my own relationship with Halloween. I didn't see any of the Halloween films until I was an adult, so this is like 2019, 2020. And even as someone who wasn't really into horror prior to that year, I was someone who liked a lot of comics, and one of the main things that comics like to do is have either a full reboot or a partial reboot, right? So you've had, multiple different versions of Batman, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and even with like some of the Marvel stuff, where Marvel has kept the same continuity for the last 60 years, but they still have certain events that have been erased, right? So like Brand New Day got rid of the Spider-Man and Mary Jane marriage, which deleted like 20 years worth of stories. And really what Halloween does has been attempted by other series as well, right? Terminator. With Terminator, the first and second movies have multiple branch-off sequels. You have the third one, you have Dark Fate, and even with the continuity of the old Michael Keaton Batman films, right? Forever is the technical sequel to Batman Returns, albeit starring a different lead actor. But then you have the Batman 89 comic book, which is supposed to ignore the events of everything after Return. So the whole branching timeline thing is not something that is exclusive to Halloween, even if it's a lot more rare for movie series to have that. And really, I think much of the confusion kind of stems from the 2018 film, where, for those that don't know, H2O was written with the intention of it being set after Curse of Michael Myers. And there was going to be this section where Laurie finds out about, Jamie and, vomits. But because they didn't want Laurie to appear to be a crappy mother who had abandoned her daughter for three films to get terrorized by her brother, they deleted that. And to this day, there are people who try to say that the original timeline and H2O and Resurrection are all in the same continuity, even if they're not. But again, back then, there was an implicit understanding that the stuff with Jamie Lee Curtis is its own continuity, right? So, 1, 2, and then the next one that she's in H2O, and then Resurrection, those are all one separate universe, and the stuff in between is part of the original series that ended prior to her coming back. And then you have the Rob Zombie films, which it's not uncommon for movie series to just have straight up full reboots, right? So Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th have both had this as well. But with 2018, I can find comments of people who genuinely didn't understand where that fit in the timeline. Like, I saw people who, for example, if someone were to draw fan art of Laurie and Michael as a couple, people in the comment section go, ugh, disgusting, they're siblings. And, you might want to say that's like some troll or someone who hasn't accepted that in this continuity that they're not related, but there were people who legitimately did not know Halloween 2, and everything else were not canon to 2018. But to play devil's advocate, I do get where if a person is just learning about these, they might, again, be confused by, oh, there's like multiple continuities where Laurie and Michael are siblings, and then there's this one continuity where they are not related, and she was just this random person that became obsessed with trying to take him down after the events of the first movie. Like, that's the kind of stuff where, when you think about it, most film series either will have a single continuity that they stick with, or they do a reboot, which is entirely its own thing. Like, other film series don't really do what Halloween does, except for Terminator as the exception. But even with that, there's less film, so it probably does not confuse people as much. It's like with Halloween, you have to explain, oh yeah, the first two are one continuity that can have these other 3 movies be put together to have a 5-film series, or if you want, you can ignore the 4th, 5th, and 6th to add on the 7th and 8th. And then if you really want to jump on the latest bandwagon, you can ignore all the ones after the first one and go to the 11th, 12th, and 13th. But again, I think my experience with other series that had a pretty similar thing to Halloween in terms of like branching timelines and sequels that may or may not be canon, played a role in why for me it's not really all that confusing. And I think if you look at stuff like the MCU where they have variants and kind of playing around with the multiverse, you're going to see more people get used to the idea of having multiple different versions of something that don't have anything to do with each other. In essence, because general audiences are getting more used to different timelines and versions of the same characters, they're not going to look at Halloween as being like this weird series because, oh, this movie is not canon with this other movie. And, I think that'll allow more people to be open to watching them versus seeing the different timelines and getting confused. I mean, I like the alternate timelines because I feel that it allows the series to have some longevity. It doesn't have to end just because, this one continuity is over. And again, it allows whoever comes around next to try their chance at, shoot their shot at making something better than what came before. So it's never really bugged me.